Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. So we have a slight problem here because our page can't go to 0 like this, so we need to guard against this kind of thing. Now, in order to do this in a systematic manner, let's create a class for the pagination. Now, the reason I want to create a class is this. You see, we have one function here that creates a page link, right? And I want to put this in a function as well. Okay, I want this to be inside a function. So this one, if I move the wait a minute. If I move this to the bottom like this, the PHP tag, then this becomes exposed. So let's create a function here. So let's say display pagination. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do this like that and close that here. Now, of course, this is HTML. So what I want to do is do an echo here like this, and I want this to remain as HTML. So what I want to do is echo. Let me try and close the PHP tag like so, and then open it here again, like this. So let's see if this is going to work. So if I copy, I think I don't even need the echo here at all. I can remove it like this. So let's see if this will show at all. So if I now refresh, we see no pagination, right? And then I can have my function here. Just call it display. I'll call the function here display pagination like that, and refresh, and there we go. So things are still working as intended. Okay, very nice. So we have a function that displays the pagination. We also have a function that creates links for this same pagination. Now, this is not good because we have two separate functions like this doing the same thing. It means if you have a different project where you want to reuse this, you have to copy each individual function. Okay, you copy this function, make sure you don't miss the other one, you copy them and put them together. This is not very portable kind of programming. So since they are more than, for as long as you have more than one function that works with another, it's always better to create a class for them because they do a similar job, right? Because we have a third function that we need in the admin area, and this is the function that creates all this because we are using the page number and the offset to create actually the page number here, where this whole thing is part of the pagination. So we'll have to create another function that does this, which then now we're going to have three functions that do the same thing, which is not good. So instead, let's create a class that will do this for us. The beauty of a class is that, just like we have in models here, if I click on the auth class here, I can simply copy the entire file and use it in another project as it is without changing anything. So this makes your code portable. That's what they mean by object-oriented programming makes things portable. So in this case, let's do that. Let's make it portable. So I'm going to go to my models and say new file. Let's save this file as pager. That's what we're going to call it, .php, because it's for pagination. You can call it pagination. That's up to you. So here I'm going to put some PHP tags and then type class and select this one, pagination class. Okay. So we're not extending anything, so we're just going to call this a new pager like this. We'll leave the constructor because we need it. I want to provide a limit here because this must be provided by the user. So, and then what I can do now, anyway, you'll see why this is important here. If I go back here, I'm going to copy the functions that I created and except where I call them, right? So I'll remove this. And I'll go back to the pager and just paste here. So back here, let's move this over. Let's also move this one over. Now these are functions and I'm going to be using them. I won't be using, let's put public here. The constructor is public by default, so it can't be private. But it's just good to explicitly say that. This one is not going to be used outside this thing, so I can just say private. Now if you want to extend this pager class and be able to still use this, then use protected here instead. So if you want, just say protected in advance, that's okay. It's the same as private, similar to private really. This one is public because I want to be able to call it from the outside of this class. So that's public. And let's see here. Let me move this over. Okay. So since we already know this is the pagination class, there's no need for our function to have pagination in its title. So we just say display, right? And create page link. It's okay. Since we'll be using this from the inside, this is all right. It can be a long name. That's okay. Okay, good. So now at least we know how to create a link and we know how to display the pagination. The only thing we need now is to go back here. Let's copy what's here. So I'm going to come back to pager class and paste this in the constructor like so. Now I want to be able to use these things here. So let's try protected as well here. So protected page number. I want to save the page number. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is page number important? Maybe. Anyway, we'll remove what we don't need. Let me duplicate this. We also need to know the limit, which will be provided by the user, which we'll get from here when creating this constructor class. So limit we know. And what else do we know? Protected because we won't be accessing them from the outside anyway. What else? No, actually, we need the offset here as well. Now, offset we are going to need from the outside world. So, this is where the issue is. I wanted a way to return an offset, but the constructor class doesn't return anything. It returns the class itself. So because what we do is we say something like pager is equal to new pager. This is how we're going to instantiate this class, right? So this is what runs the constructor. So it means we're going to tell it what will be the limit for this pager. Maybe it will be 10 records per page. And then it's going to return the class itself. So this function is what returns the class. So we can't tell it to return a certain value or a specific value. So that's okay. But what we can do is we can create a public value for offset after we do the calculation. So here I'm going to start with offset is equal to 0. We're going to have limit is equal to 10. These are default values. Just in case. This one is equal to 1. So page 1, we have a limit of 10 records and an offset of 0, which is page 1. Okay, so we are done. So once we do the construction, the user supplies us with the limit, then we're going to have to replace this limit. Or instead, we can say limit, make it optional. We'll say limit is equal to 10. That way you don't have to always supply it. And so this makes it optional. So there will be an optional of, it means if we don't supply it, it's going to be equal to 10. But once it's applied, then we're going to say this limit, which is this one, we're going to set it to whatever value was supplied. So I'm just going to say here, this limit, like this, is equal to the limit that we got from the user, like that. Okay, so that's all we needed from the user. The page number we can get from the URL here from the get URL. So that is what we did. Where is that? Right here. Page number is equal to that. That's what we did here. So we come back to pager. So this one is already here. So I want to change this page number here. So I'm going to say, I don't really know if we need this. Anyway, this page number, which is that one, is equal to whatever is in the get variable with page, or it's equal to 1. Now it's important here because the user can type in some text in the page to try and hack your system instead of putting a number there. So let's make sure it's converted to an int, but this won't work here because this is an evaluation. So what we need to do instead is just say this page number again is equal to int this page number. So what we are doing is just making sure it's an integer, that's all. And then once we make sure it's an integer, we want to check to see if it's less than 1, because it can't be less than 1. So if this page number is less than 1, like this, which means it's 0 or something like that, if it is less than 1, then this page number is equal to 1. That way we make sure we never go to page number -1. Okay, so that's about it. And then now we get an offset. So this offset, which is this one we are talking about, is equal to the page number, which is in our case this page number. Okay, so I'll copy that, this page number, -1, and then this limit, because we've already supplied the limit. Now also here, this limit should be an integer. So let's just make sure that we cast it as an integer like that, because you never know as well there. So let's say this limit. Okay, so finally we will have an offset, we'll have a limit, we have a page number right there. Alrighty then.